From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell in Melbourne.
Hello, Jim Maxwell. Not quite in Sydney, but not far away. It's nice and sticky here at the moment, and I hope you're comfortable wherever you're watching and listening.
And I'm Charu Sharma for Akashvani in Bangalore, in between various parts of travel, but great to be back on Stumped.
It's great to see you both. But first of all, a rare milestone for one cricketer as Australia's women completed an emphatic bounce back in their multi-format series in India. They'd lost the one-off test, India beating the Aussies for the very first time in the format. But the double world champions wrapped up the T20 series 2-1. To add to their 3-0 win in the ODIs. And the second match of the T20 series was Ellyse Perry's 300th international cap. She became the first Australian woman and just the fourth overall to reach that milestone. So, Jim, it was quite a moment for Perry to hit that 300 mark, and she even hit a match-winning six just to mark the occasion as well, to close out victory in that game and set up the series decider. But how do you reflect on her career? Because she had to undergo something of a transformation, didn't she, in order to get this far in the T20 format?
There's no doubt that Ellyse Perry is the star player of the age. You could call her a phenomenon. Since she's come into the Australian side as a teenager at 16, she's developed into a great all-rounder. And she's had to do a bit of fiddling in the recent part of her career because she was never really regarded as someone who whacked the ball out of the ground. She didn't hit a lot of sixes. She had a controlled method of batting that's earned her a double hundred in women's test cricket, only 12 of the 300 test matches. But it is, of course, her match-winning skill as a bowler and as a batter and also as an outstanding person in the field. She's such a brilliant athlete, as we know from her early days when she played for the Matildas and the soccer team. But I think what's transformed her cricket more recently is the understanding that there has to be a different approach with T20. It's not enough to just manoeuvre the ball about the place. You've actually got to hit sixes. And she's hit a lot of them recently, and she finished the game off the other day in style. So we are seeing the sort of the twilight development of one of the greatest, if not the greatest, female cricketer that we have ever seen in the game. And what is astonishing is that she's maintained a hunger, a desire to improve when at times she's been a little bit by injury, maybe motivation, but more injury, I think, with her bowling. She's been a bit on the sideline. So here she is. She's playing out of her skin, and for all Australians, if not everyone who loves cricket, it's a joy to watch her.
Playing out of her skin, for how much longer do you think, Jim? How many caps could she win?
There's a few more years there. I mean, there are 7 World Cups in the bag. I mean, how many do you want to take home? I would say at least another 2 years, but it may go longer than that if she's motivated. But for most people, there comes a point when you just say, well, I've done all that. What else can I do? But perhaps she's thinking she hasn't quite done as much as she wants to, because she's certainly, on the evidence of what we have seen, still got a lot to give.
Indeed. Charu, of the series overall, I mean, crowds were strong, weren't they, for the T20s? There was over 43,500, I noticed, at the DY Patil Stadium for that second T20, certainly. A sensational debut as well in the first match for a 19-year-old right-arm pacer who picked up 4 very good wickets in the win for India. What can you tell us about another right-armer from Bengal who is causing a bit of a stir?
Well, her predecessor certainly caused a huge stir for many years. And of course, she's a big fan of Jhulan Goswami, whom, as Titus says, played for 20 years for India. And I'm not even 20 yet. So
Titus Sadhu, I should say.
Yeah. So Jhulan, of course, was a big hero. She started late, Titus Sadhu. And initially, of course, she's from a small village, really, a small center about 50 miles north of Kolkata. Lots of little villages there. And her parents typically sent her out to play sort of a casual little, not even cricket, just a game or so. Come back in the evening, make sure you study. So she picked up cricket very late. And when she did, of course, I think she's a better athlete, if I might be allowed to say so, than Jhulan. So she started her career a little late, but hasn't she burst through fabulously, being the player of the tournament, the under-19 final, which was a big moment for her. And of course, the first T20 as well. She's done really well. Not that much international experience at this point of time, but she will take what Jhulan Goswami told her to heart and says, if you are a fast bowler, just bowl quick, everything else will follow. And I think it will for Taito Sandhu. Big find for India without question. About the crowds, though, the whole ticketing concept is a little questionable. I mean, it's not heavily ticketed, the matches. But let's not take anything away from the amount of interest that the average Indian fan is now showing towards women's cricket. Of course, not only is there home interest, but also playing against the best team in the world does mean that there's a lot of interest was a lot of interest for that series. Pity it didn't go too well for India in the limited overs, although the Indian girls might well say, don't the test match matter more, which is what they won.
Well, it was significant for them, wasn't it? I wonder with the crowds, I mean, I think even England and Australia have gone through those phases of where you invite crowds in for nothing or next to nothing. You get people in, and then, of course, when there's TV cameras there, that crowd and the fun is transmitted, and then more people want to go. And so it does grow, but you need to start from somewhere, don't you, getting people in. And people, wouldn't go if they didn't simply want to be there. So I think the crowd certainly added to that atmosphere at the T20s. Talking of an international who does have plenty of experience is the captain, Harmanpreet. Should Indian fans be a bit worried about her form, Charu? Because she didn't have a great time of it, did she? Single-figure scores in the 6 white ball innings since the Test match.
Oh, big trouble for Ms. Kaur, without doubt. And although the papers had in the past not reported much about women's cricket, nowadays there's a fair amount of coverage, which is all not good for Harmanpreet because there's a lot of questions about where she's going with these very low scores for quite a while. Still very aggressive, of course, and she will wait for the WPL perhaps to showcase her continuing stardom. But for India internationally, she's certainly caused a bit of a problem because you can't sack the captain easily, can you? And she is a big star. So, yes, trouble for her. She probably needs to go back to square one and get to her original coach, find out what's going on. She's certainly not the player that scored that big 171 in the World Cup many years ago when India went down. I think that was in the semis, wasn't it? She hasn't really had any big scores for India, although she's done well in the leagues. And yes, there are plenty of questions on whether she now continues to hold her place or not, because there are so many youngsters bursting through, as you may know, in India, and they're all hungry and perhaps just as good. So it's just a matter of time before she is probably given sort of a final notice, if I can say so.
Oh, that's a strong statement. Tell me, though, about Charu, the most expensive player in the auction for the upcoming WIPL, Annabelle Sutherland, because she was on show for the Aussies. What was it, 364,000 Aussie dollars she went for in the auction, the Delhi Capitals. How do you think she stood up to the extra attention?
Well enough. In the first T20, she went wicketless, but then took 2 fours in the next 2 and not giving too much at all. So remember, the auction's a bit of a strange animal where people go for all sorts of prices when you don't quite expect them to. I'm taking nothing away from the abilities of the young lady, but I do think she'll quickly realize that the expectations now from the WPL are going to rise dramatically. And that has, in the past, not been very beneficial to some of the players who've wilted under that pressure when people start evaluating your performance in terms of number of dollars per ball bowled or whatever. So we'll see how she stands up to that in the WPL. But I do hope she has a strong head on her shoulders, a level head, and doesn't quite think about the money so much, but just about her skills, which are, of course, some of the best.
Now, what is it like for a cricketer to have so many options to choose from, especially with the rise of franchise 2020 leagues all over the world? This week, the second edition of the SA20 starts, South Africa's premier T20 competition, and there are 6 teams involved. And I'm delighted to say that we can speak to someone who knows just what it takes to win the competition. Spinner Roelof van der Merwe, who is a former South Africa international, but has now played for the Netherlands since 2015, including at the recent World Cup in India. Roelof, welcome to Stumped. You were the joint leading wicket taker in 2023 for the champions Sunrisers Eastern Cape, and you're also player of the match in the final. Just what was the SA20 experience like for you?
Yeah, it was a good experience. I think always going back home and playing cricket, you see some of the old sites, some of the old people that you used to work with, and it was a great experience, and I really enjoyed it.
You've played in several different leagues as well, notably in the 100 as well in the UK. You're 38 now as well. I just wonder, what are you still sort of learning about cricket, moving between these different leagues?
Yeah, well, as of 31st of December, I'm 39 now, so...
I took a year off you. Should be thankful for that.
I should have just kept quiet, but... I think, with age, obviously a lot of things happens to your body and you don't move as quick anymore, but also with those years of experience, it helps you make up in other departments of the game. So I think it evens out in the end of the day, but even at my age, I'm still really enjoying it. Love being part of the teams that I play for, and just the whole change of environment.
And so when there are so many different leagues to pick from, what factors are you taking into account when you're deciding, your yearly calendar, what to go to and when?
Well, I don't think I'm one of the fortunate ones that can just pick where I go and when, but obviously you look at time away from the family, you look at time of the competition, what time of year, what's your next few commitments. So for me, I just enjoy playing everything. So I'm always putting my hand up for leagues. But, some of the guys are really busy schedules, so they've got to pick and choose a bit more carefully.
On the international front, of course, you mentioned how you used to represent South Africa, but now the Netherlands. And goodness me, what a World Cup experience it was in India, because you were actually part of the provisional squad for the 2011 World Cup with South Africa, weren't you? But then, fast forward 13 years later, it's quite the story to, have seen you then in Dutch colours and beating South Africa in the World Cup in Dharamshala. And what was that moment like for you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask me, what was that victory like? And, does it mean more than other ones? I'm not, at the end of the day, I play for the Netherlands now, and, beating any team is a great feeling. So it didn't draw anything or pull more weight. But the tournament in India was exceptional. I mean, the way they look after you there, and, they're cricket crazy. So it was an awesome experience just being there for a 50 over World Cup.
And have you seen the impact that it's had on Netherlands cricket, or what impact has that victory had?
Look, I think the exposure for individuals is also great, getting that exposure and performing on the biggest stage possible. I think obviously at the moment cricket in the Netherlands isn't a big deal, but that's our job to perform and grow it, and let the next generation take it up and grow the game. So that's massive for Dutch cricket, and also for the individuals involved.
What does Dutch cricket need, do you think, to, I guess, sort of, there's some momentum right now because of that victory, but what sort of state is it in? Does it have, the right funding, for example? Is enough cricket being played? Look,
I think since I've started in 2015 with Netherlands, they've developed so much. Obviously, not to the extent of being a test-playing nation, but they've got more professional in the way they operate. Their structures have been better. Obviously, we need to be improving all the time. We've got a players' association in place now, which is a big thing for the players and for Dutch cricket. So we are making steps in the right direction. So it's all good.
Did the scrapping of the ODI Super League, that sort of pathway system, 4-year cycles of competition, did that have an impact in a big way, do you think, on sheer numbers of matches and opportunity? Oh,
definitely. I think the main thing for associate teams essentially is to play against best playing nations, and playing against the best players in the world consistently to improve. And I think that's the thing, is we need to play against those teams consistently for a player to become used to that environment and actually understand what it takes to thrive in that environment. So I think that will definitely have an effect down the line. But at the end of the day, you've got to make what you've got and just make do.
Do you feel like there is a bit more willingness these days, or would you like to see more willingness from the test playing nations to incorporate more one-day matches, one-day series against teams like the Netherlands?
No, definitely. I think, us beating South Africa It's happened twice now on the world stage. That is massive for teams to go, okay, well, actually, we can have fixtures again. Scotland beating England. Those are massive moments for those big teams to actually decide, listen, it's actually worth playing these guys.
And does the Netherlands, to your knowledge, have aspirations to one day become a test nation, following in the footsteps of what Ireland and Afghanistan have been able to achieve? Or do you sense, is there any sort of shifting amongst aspirations to be a test nation? Because we're actually now seeing countries like South Africa, send sort of second string test sides, because T20 is sort of where it's at for many countries that aren't flush with cash.
Yeah, look, I think, it sounds great being a test playing nation, but I think we're at a stage now where we just want constant fixtures against ODI fixtures or T20 fixtures against any test playing nation, not even thinking about playing test cricket. So, no, I think that is definitely, if it is a goal, it's way down the line. And for now, we just want to play some good cricket and play against the best in the world.
And for you, stepping back in as a cricket fan, what did you think about, or what do you think about a sort of second string South Africa side going to New Zealand? Because it's brought an awful lot of comment on, I guess this being sort of the start of the end of Test cricket. Steve Waugh in particular is very, very vocal about it. What's your feeling?
As a South African cricket fan, I'll be disappointed to see that team go. It's not your full strength team. But on the other side, I also support South African cricket, and I understand that they need to make decisions in the long run, and that's it's a bit of a touchy subject at the moment. So, but yeah, it is what it is. If you give somewhere else, you're going to have to take somewhere else. So it is a bit tough, but you never know. You might just see some new talent arising for South Africa. I think that's definitely the positive that can come out of that tour, and you never know.
Yeah. And what about for you yourself? So at 39 years of age, as we've established, has this choice of or proliferation of T20 opportunities certainly lengthened your career? And how much longer do you want to keep going on for?
Well, I think the fact that I'm not playing four-day cricket or first-class cricket anymore helps a lot. I think that's a lot of warm-ups and a lot of days in the field. But obviously the intensity of T20 cricket is a bit different. So it does take out of the body. But, as long as I'm still fit and well, and I'll probably try to push it as long as I can. I still really enjoy it, and obviously the past year has been a very enjoyable year, so I would like more of those.
Excellent. Well, good luck, and we'll enjoy watching you into the future for a few more years yet, I'm sure. Thanks very much for joining us, Roelof van der Merwe. Well, that is all we've got time for on this week's Stumped, so I'll say thanks to Charu Sharma and to Jim Maxwell and to all of you for listening, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.